One of the consistent things that the left has said about Donald Trump for years, literally years, is that he's basically a Russian plant, that he's in hoc in some way, shape, or form. We don't exactly know how to Russia. And that's the only thing that explains the way that he behaves. I don't believe that, even though it's come up again after Trump's meeting with Putin, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, in Anchorage, Alaska on Friday. So the argument let me explain to you what the argument is and why I don't believe it. The argument as it relates to the Alaska summit is this. Trump went in insisting that there had to be a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. And if there wasn't, there would be, in his words, severe consequences. Well, he left saying, well, there is no ceasefire and we don't need one because we're going to have a peace agreement and there won't be any consequences against Russia right now. So it seemed as though he adopted a lot of what Vladimir Putin wanted and kind of walked away from what he wanted. And in the subsequent days since that summit, what you've seen is a lot of stuff that is, pretty pro-Russian position on the end of this war, including ceding land that Ukraine would need to cede, Donetsk and some other pieces of land that Russia has either captured or mostly captured in order for this war to end. And that Ukraine has to say they will never try to be a part of NATO. I don't think this is because Trump is a Russian plant or Russia has something on Trump. And I'll tell you why. I think it's much less complicated than that. Here's what I think it is, and regular viewers and readers know this about me. Donald Trump wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize. He wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize because Barack Obama has one, and because it's a external recognition that he is sort of a great man of history. He and his White House have been talking about this for months. Now, Carolyn Levitt, the White House press secretary, keeps saying how Donald Trump has ended 6 wars in 6 months. Trump has said that himself. He has made a call out of the blue to Norway, the Norwegian economic minister, to talk about tariffs, but also to push for the idea of him winning the Nobel Peace Prize. It's not complicated. He is a man who craves external recognition, and he badly wants this. How does that factor into Russia and Ukraine? Trump is just a guy who's 100% born of who has advantage. And in his mind, it has always been the case that Russia is the one who's going to dictate the terms of how this ends because Russia's the bigger country and the more powerful country. That's Trump. Trump is a might makes right guy. And so he's always viewed it that way. If you listen to his comments after the Putin summit from last Friday, he basically says Russia's more powerful and Ukraine's going to have to accept what, at least a lot of what Russia wants. That's why I think he is seen as so pro-Russian in the wake of this summit, because he wants a deal, and he views the way to a deal as Russia says what they want, and he sells it to Ukraine because Ukraine has no choice, right? Remember back in February when J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky were all in the White House together. Trump basically said, you have no cards to play. You have no leverage. He still believes that. Now, that whether or not he's a Russian secret sleeper Russian agent, which I do not think he is, doesn't really matter because the outcome is likely to be the same. Trump badly wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Because of that, he is going to default to Russian perspectives and Russian views on all of this, because that is what he believes makes it more likely to get this deal done. And he's just focused on getting the deal done, right? That's the most important thing to him. So no, he's not a Russian agent. No, he is not controlled by the Russians, but he is controlled by the powerful get to do what they want and they dictate it to the less powerful. And that is absolutely guiding his view on how the Russia-Ukraine war should end. That Russia, because they're more powerful, are ultimately going to have to get more of what they want because that's the way the world works. So that's my view on Trump, that it's much more about him and how he wants to be a great man of history and to matter historically and to be recognized externally than it is that the Russians have some sort of compromise on him. Do one thing for me if you can. Hit that subscribe button. You'll get free content like this every single day, and I'll continue to grow in my career as an independent news creator. Thanks so much and take care.